Super Bowl 54 is in the books. The Kansas City Chiefs are your champions. We're edging a little bit closer to the baseball season. Also, Pete Rose back in the news. Should he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? My argument is yes. We're going to get into that. But first, this is the return of the XFL. How's that? How was
it
that?
was amazing.
Was that? And also, we have some basketball news to get underway. The of course, trade deadline just went by, but before we do any of that, it's Saturday. The weather is beautiful, and guys, we made it.
We made it. It's Saturday, a beautiful Saturday that is, and Milton Mardi Gras Parade is tonight, which ESPN Pensacola will be in alongside News Radio and Cat Country 98.7.
Yeah, the Milton Parade tonight, and it's going to be a little cold. So I'm gonna definitely be repping. I'm repping News Radio today. I'm always gonna be repping the brand no matter where I go. But today it's gonna be News Radio. Do a lot of work over there as well. So if you see me, expect me to be in red. Justin will actually be with our sister station, Cat Country 98.7. He'll be on air for them. And then Sean, he says he has some homework he has to do.
Yep, I gotta go to the UWF basketball game tonight to write a sports story on it.
Who are they playing?
Shorter University.
Oh, Shorter.
Yeah, I almost went to school, not in Shorter, but up in Rome, Georgia, where they're located at another school.
Barry, right?
Barry, yeah.
Yep.
I was going to play baseball there. But anyways, it's Saturday. We can't be more happy that it's a beautiful Saturday. It is cold, so get ready to bundle up, especially later on tonight. But the weather is perfect at the moment, so I'm gonna keep riding with that. It's currently 11:02 our time. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to be a part of the program, 623-1330. That is our phone number. You can also text that phone number as well, and that's the easiest way to be a part of the conversation. If you're not somebody who is comfortable getting on air, text us. We'll have a conversation that way. And let's try to have a conversation about the XFL, the return of the XFL Part 2. At least the last time the XFL was in function back in 2001, they managed to at least finish a season. That is more than what the AFF?
The AFL? Wait, what was it?
AFF, AAF, American Alliance of Football.
Yeah, something like that.
See, it is so ancient history now that I don't even remember what the acronym was.
I remember we talked about it so much. I was like, I have zero clue what's going on with this thing. Like, it was just a big spew of just not a good thing. And, it's really hard to go up against the NFL like that. The XFL, they've had better success, not great success, but they've had better success. And I think the rule changes is what kind of makes it interesting. I love how they have the point after touchdowns. You can get a 1, 2, or 3. There's no kicked extra points, and then also the double forward pass rule. But the first pass has to be caught behind the line of scrimmage, and they can throw another one. So that's kind of interesting, but not as much though.
So then I explained that rule wrong on air yesterday morning when I was on our sister station, News Radio 92.3, and I said you could throw a pass 30 yards down the field, and then the receiver can turn forward and throw the pass to another person who could be in the end zone.
Actually, that's basically
so you cannot do that.
Yeah, that's basically ultimate. That's like ultimate frisbee rules, which is not how this works. It's so unlike the NFL. The XFL will allow 2 forward passes on a play, provided the first forward pass is caught behind the line of scrimmage. So it's kind of like pretty much a lateral, and in the NFL, it's kind of that same situation, but they can actually throw it forward. And so I guess it leaves a little bit more room for the quarterback to have a little bit of a drop back. And I guess you can change your play calling there a little bit, but it's not that different from the NFL, where you just have to throw it, backwards, like 1 yard, and then they can just chuck it down the field, like Julian Edelman to Danny Amendola against Baltimore in the playoffs that one year.
So I don't really remember the XFL the first time it was around. I really don't. It was back in 2001. I wasn't really as focused on football as I am now.
I was in diapers.
You were in diapers. You're the youngin' of this group, but there was that documentary called This Is the XFL. It was part of the ESPN's 30 for 30 series. It's awesome, by the way. But the way they wanted to look at it was very gimmicky. It was supposed to be more entertaining than what the NFL is right now. And the kickoffs weren't really kickoffs. It was determined. The way it was determined you get the football is they put the ball in the middle, and then these 2 players have to run for it. I believe 2 players were starting at one spot. I think the ball was probably 50 yards down the field, and they had to sprint for it, and whoever had gotten the ball essentially captured the flag. That was how you received the ball first. However, it also resulted in some injuries. People would literally get injured going for this ball because they're tackling each other. And there were certain players that had last names on their back that were, made them characters. Like I think it was like "What Me Worry" or something like that. It was very gimmicky, and it just didn't work after one complete season. They are formatting this to where it is like more normal football, just has a couple of different rule changes that are good to experiment with. Leagues like this can experiment with different rules that the NFL probably will not pursue anytime soon. So it's a different way to see football. And I saw that this morning because the first game is going to be on ABC at 1 o'clock. It's the DC Defenders taking on the Seattle Dragons. They say that one thing that's going to be a visual upgrade is that they're going to put cameras in players' helmets, and they're also going to mic up the coaches so that way you can hear them throughout the game and see from a vantage point of a player what's going on with the game.
Okay, so I'm reading the rules right now, and so kickoffs are gonna be a lot different. They have it to where it's actually gonna be a little bit safer, but there's also gonna be more returns. It's weird. It's really a weird sequence. So on kickoffs, the kicker will kick the ball from their own 30-yard line. So that's gonna be 70 yards to the end zone. But every blocker or tackler for the kick team, they will be lined up on the opponent's 35-yard line, and then now the return team blockers, so the people receiving the ball, will be lined up on their own 30. So they'll be 5 yards away from each other. But only the kicker and receiver of the ball can move before the ball is caught. All other blockers are permitted to move when the ball is caught or 3 seconds after it hits the ground if the ball isn't caught. And touchbacks will result in the receiving team starting at their own 35-yard line.
All right.
Yep.
So this is going to be fun.
It's definitely different, and I like how it's different because it makes things interesting to me. I'm still going over the rule right now, and there are no coaches' challenges in the XFL. All reviews will be initiated by a replay official via the XFL.
So the teams, if you're wondering who the 8 teams are, and by the way, you'll get to see all 8 teams play this weekend, 2 games today, and then 2 games tomorrow. But the teams are, and we ought to go ahead and take this opportunity to see who our alliance is going to go to, because there is a Florida team involved. But first, it's the Dallas Renegades and the DC Defenders. The Dallas Renegades are going to be playing their games over at Globe Life Park, which used to be where the Texas Rangers used to play. It's right across the street from Jerry's World. I guess they couldn't get access to Jerry's World. The DC Defenders are playing at Audi Field, and many people are really loving up on this DC Defenders team. It is a team that Cardell Jones, remember him?
Dude,
you remember him? He was at one point a third-string quarterback that ended up getting thrusted into the spotlight in the Big Ten championship, and then he went on to win a national championship, beating teams like Alabama and Oregon back in 2014.
That guy probably had the best first 3-game resume over in college football history. First, he goes off and plays in the conference championship versus a top 10 team in Wisconsin, beats them, then goes and plays the number 1 team in the nation of Nick Saban, beats them when they were the underdog in the Sugar Bowl, and then goes and beats Marcus Mariota in Oregon in the national championship. Those are probably the best 3 games. Those are some really hard games, first of all, just as a quarterback in general. But for them to be your first 3 games, that's impressive to me.
And play well while doing it.
Exactly. He played very well. I thought it was really interesting in his play style because he was able to run the ball. He was a really big guy, kind of like Cam Newton. He's just a really big power guy, but he could also throw it. His nickname was 12 gauge shotgun. That's what his nickname was.
Cannon.
Yeah, because he had also his number was number 12. So it was really cool to me.
So that's the DC Defenders, and then you also have the Houston Roughnecks, who are going to be playing at the TDECU Stadium. That's where the University of Houston plays. The Los Angeles Wildcats playing over at Dignity Health Sports Park. It's an MLS stadium. The New York Guardians are going to be playing over at MetLife Stadium. And then you have the St. Louis Battlehawks. The Battlehawks. They're playing at the Dome where the St. Louis Rams used to play. So they're using that stadium once again. The Seattle Dragons, who we're going to be seeing take on the DC Defenders in the first game, that they play over at CenturyLink Field, which is where the Seahawks play. And then this is going to be my team, the Tampa Bay Vipers, playing over at Raymond James Stadium, which is where the Buccaneers play. So I'm from that area. I'm a diehard Tampa Bay Rays fan. The Bucs are my NFL team of choice, although I also support the Saints. But this is going to be my XFL team, the Tampa Bay Vipers.
Okay, so I'm looking at the penalties right now. So the overtime format In overtime,
Oh, this is actually a pretty cool
I like
thing
this.
way to do it.
And the penalties in overtime, they're really crucial. You do not want to commit a penalty because it's drastic. All right, in overtime, each team's offense will have 5 attempts to complete a 2-point conversion from the 5-yard line, with each successful conversion being worth 2 points. The team with the most points at the end of the shootout is the winner. If the one team clinches a win early, the unnecessary remaining rounds of the shootout will not be played. There will be no coin toss to determine the order of overtime, which is kind of like college. You don't need a coin toss. Well, is there a coin toss in college? Because
Yeah,
who gets the ball first? Yeah,
no, well, there's a coin toss. Yeah, at the beginning, and then whoever wins, they get to decide if they want to defend or get the ball first. Which in college football, it's more popular to get the ball second,
because
that way you can react to what it is the team that received first does.
But then see the next overtime, if there's a double overtime, it switches, and the team that went last goes first that time. But there will be no coin toss to determine overtime. The visiting team will always make the first two. Will always make the first 2-point attempt. Defenses cannot score in overtime possessions in the event of a turnover. And now penalties. So if the defense commits a pre-snap penalty, the ball will be moved to the 1-yard line. So that makes the things really easy. And then for a post-snap penalty, the offensive team will have the option to retry the play from the 1-yard line if they do not score. Any future penalties committed by the defense in any future round will result in an automatic score for the offense. I'm like, wow. We've never seen this in any type of football where a penalty can automatically lead to a score. That's new. So I like that a lot.
So my question to you guys, and again, 623-1330, if you want to be a part of the conversation, call or text. Are you at all excited about football coming back? Or do you fear that it's going to meet the fate that the AAF met? Is it perhaps going to at least make it one full season and then be up in the air again? What say you? I mean, for me, I like what the XFL is doing at the moment, and they're marketing it very well, and financially it seems like it's pretty stable, because that was the AAF's biggest problem from week 2, actually, is when you start seeing reports that one team already couldn't make payroll, and that league was immediately bought out by somebody else, and then it lasted 7 more weeks, and then we lost the AAF. The first week was extremely exciting. It was fun to see football again.
Everybody was watching it.
But then it got very boring because you saw really quick that this is not quality football. Some of these guys, they're going to earn NFL contracts once again, but they are here for a reason. It's because they're not good enough to play in the NFL, and you end up seeing the quality in return. The AAF, I think, will be something like that again, but I think the money is behind it, and they're marketing it very well. I think having ESPN and Fox tag team the coverage is going to help out a lot. I think CBS didn't do a good enough job covering the AAF, so I think the XFL is at the moment set up for success, but do not expect to see the same kind of quality football. That's really all I have to say.
Yeah, you won't see the same quality football, but I like the rule changes because it makes things a lot different. But it's whether or not it will have that same effect. Now you're going to see a lot of guys where they come from like Group of 5 schools, and like they were stars at Group of 5 schools. I can name a few. Rakeem Cato. I don't think he's playing in the XFL, but Tommy Schuler. I know he signed with one of the teams in the XFL. He was really good, and he broke a lot of Randy Moss's records. But you know he's 5'7", like 170. That's not your ideal NFL receiver, so you know that's why he's not there. And so you're going to see a lot of guys who are smaller and just didn't have that size aspect, but were still pretty solid players when it came to actually the actual skill of football. You're going to see a lot of those type of guys in these games. They just weren't the size that you expect in their positions for the NFL.
So they're saying the DC Defenders are at the moment the favorite to win the league, and we again haven't even seen these teams take a snap yet.
Nope.
I think that this is extremely exciting for the player who thought their career was over. And you've heard these stories. They're not making NFL contract, money. They're not at all. But for many of these guys, some of these guys are players who could be on an NFL roster right now, but they want to get a chance to boost up their credibility, their experience. So they go to a place like the XFL. It's a place where they can start and perhaps thrive, so that way an NFL team can sign them up. I think that from the AAF, the player that we saw really thrive and now is on an NFL roster is Garrett Gilbert. Mm-hmm. Remember him? He went to Texas, then he finished his career at SMU, played in that national championship game against Alabama when Colt McCoy went down with an injury.
Went down with an injury.
Yeah. He busted his shoulder, apparently, I think. But who's going to have the best opportunity to really go out there and prove themselves and get another shot at the NFL, or perhaps even a first shot at the NFL? I'm going back to the DC Defenders, and my eyes are on Cardell Jones because he has had glimpses of good football, but now he's a starter again. So can he take the opportunity and make the very most of it and end up on an NFL team again?
So now there's some other notable players that not just Cardell Jones, but Michigan State's football coach Mark D'Antoni. He just left, and probably his last notable season was when Connor Cook played. That's when they went to the playoffs and they lost to Alabama in the first game. They got blown out. Connor Cook, the quarterback of that team, he is going to be playing for the Houston team in the XFL. And you also have guys like Tyree Jackson. He played at the Senior Bowl last year. Was a Buffalo big guy. He's really cool to watch. He threw about a 60-yard bomb in the Senior Bowl. I remember that about him. I got to ask him a couple questions. Sammy Coates played for the Steelers. He's going to be in the XFL. Landry Jones, him as well. Matt McGloin, he will be in the XFL as well. And you have Bob Stoops, who will be around. And then you also have Trent Richardson. He will be in the XFL. Roberto Aguayo. Everybody knows who Roberto Aguayo is. Probably one of the most notable kickers in all of the history of football. Didn't do that well in the NFL.
Well, say in college football, yes.
In college football, of course. He'll be in the XFL as well. So you have some names that we're familiar with and they remind us of, but you're not going to have the same talent as the NFL. But there's still some guys that you'll remember that you're like, oh, I think he played this position for my team or played this position for that team. That's kind of what the XFL is.
Trent Richardson, a Pensacola product, a guy out of Escambia High School, a person who was drafted number 3 overall, was a Heisman candidate at Alabama. I did not know. I'm learning this just now. I did not know that he signed with an XFL team.
He was in the AAF too.
Yeah, and he was actually
was
probably
doing good.
at the time before the season began. I recall Trent Richardson being touted as probably the most notable player in the XFL because again of his prior experience, and he never really gained any kind of success in the NFL. He never had real success in the NFL. I think his best season was probably his rookie season when he was in Cleveland, and he really went down the hill from there. He also quietly led the AAF in touchdowns last season.
Yep.
Playing for Birmingham because they would put him in like 1-yard situations and he'd punch it up the middle for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. That is why he led the league in touchdowns.
Yeah, but this is the guy who broke all of Emmitt Smith's records back in Escambia. And Emmitt Smith, one of the top 5 greatest running backs of all time, easily coming out of Escambia as well. Literally has Escambia's football stadium is named after Emmitt Smith himself. Escambia is known as being the home of Emmitt Smith. Actually, his brother Emery, he was out at World of Beer last week for the watch party for the Super Bowl, or the big game as you call it. And so, Trent Richardson, one of those notable guys in the league, kind of fell off. I mean, there was at one point where I think Peyton Manning had more rushing yards in a season than he did when he played for the Colts. That's just tough, man.
So what roster is Trent Richardson on? I'm trying to find
Indianapolis is.
Indianapolis. They don't have a team though. There's Houston, D.C., Dallas, New York, St. Louis, Seattle, Tampa Bay.
Okay, let me find this because it says Indianapolis under his team.
Oh, that must be that was the last NFL team he played for.
Yeah. Okay.
It's probably that because I don't remember. And you know what? Maybe he did sign. We'll have to look that up. And on that note, we could actually take our first time out of the show as we fact check ourselves. But then also the Super Bowl recently happened. We do want to break that down. Also, a lot of NBA action. Our boy Sean is in here. He's going to talk a little bit of sports with us, a little bit of basketball. This is Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
First take, your take. With Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
What if people had a battery level icon? Like on your phone? You'd see a lot of us in need of a recharge. Thank goodness there's 5-Hour Energy. Because just one sugar-free, vitamin-packed 5-Hour Energy shot can get you all the way back to 100% fast. And isn't life better at 100%? 5-Hour Energy. Get back to 100%. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
Hey there. I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick. Miss Lydia!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Imogen and I started Jewelers Trade Shop in 1956.
Our goal at Jewelers Trade Shop has always been to give our customers the best experience imaginable. It's something that my grandfather instilled in my father, and without a doubt, my father has passed on to me. Those basic core goals and values that shaped our business 56 years ago are still very much alive and a driving force behind Jewelers Trade Shop today.
For 3 generations, the story continues. Jewelers Trade Shop in downtown Pensacola.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk. The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given... nobody does. No, look, when you play with your pops as it gets older, one of the most embarrassing things, my daughter's 3, I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Super Bowl 54 that happened last Sunday. Did you watch it? Did you think that it was a boring game? I hope you did not, and I'm going to give you reasons why. I don't think this was a boring game simply because it stayed close in the first half, which was probably the most quote-unquote boring part of the game, but the game remained close, and that's really all I can ask for. If it's a back-and-forth game, then at least stay close so that way somebody could strike at any moment, and then all of a sudden it gets really exciting. We saw good moments, some fairly exciting moments. Is it a top in a Super Bowl all-time game? No, it's not, but definitely better than last year. I was happy to see the Chiefs come through with the victory. I think that they deserved it most than even over the 49ers, given the talent that they have. Patrick Mahomes is way too good of a quarterback to not have a Super Bowl in his career. I can sit here and say, you know what? I was satisfied.
Now, you say Patrick Mahomes is way too good of a quarterback, but don't forget to mention Andy Reid. He's way too good of a coach to not have a Super Bowl ring, and I'm very happy that he had one. Jimmy Garoppolo just didn't show up in the fourth quarter there. He was very consistent throughout the entire game up to that fourth quarter because he was probably only incompleted on 4 of his pass. And, so I thought it was a good game. We definitely didn't expect it to be that low of scoring. We expected a way more high-scoring game, but we always love a good comeback in the Super Bowl. I thought it was really interesting how they pretty much did the same thing to the Texans. They put up that 21 points in about 5 minutes, just how they did with the Texans when they played them. And so, I mean, Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl champions, and I'm not surprised. That's who I picked. San Francisco, I was really impressed with their defense, though, that front seven. They did a really good job, but then Patrick Mahomes, Damian Williams, he started getting loose, and it was just downhill there.
And we see it again from the Chiefs. You're down by double digits, and then you go on to win by double digits. And they were down by 10 points in the fourth quarter. 49ers, they were moving the ball efficiently. They were doing that pretty well on defense. And Kansas City, you just knew that they were going to wake up at some point and really get the ball moving on offense. And we saw that in Super Bowl 54 in the last 11 minutes of the game. The Chiefs just started clicking, and then they, like you mentioned, that Garoppolo was fairly effective throughout the game, but then goes 3 for 11 in the fourth quarter, just shuts down at the wrong time. And also we're seeing it again that Kyle Shanahan, he was with the Falcons as their offensive coordinator when they lost to the Patriots in that Super Bowl where they at one point had a 28-3 lead. Is Kyle Shanahan maybe the jinx or the curse of the team? I'm not going to go out that far and say yes, but it once again happens. And I just thought the right team won. That's just my opinion. I thought the right team did win. Kansas City, they earned this victory. They were the best team throughout the entire year, and they had moments where they weren't a great team. I really was overall satisfied with how this Super Bowl went.
Yeah, it was a good Super Bowl. It was way better than last year's Super Bowl. I will say that to the least. Now, Atlanta and New England, that was just a really good game, and Kyle Shanahan, the defense just stepped up in that game. You can't blame him there. I actually have a sticker on my laptop where it's a score of when New England had 3, Atlanta 28, and it was the third quarter with 2 minutes and 17 seconds left, because that's a really notable game, and I'm a Pats fan, as we all know, and that was a big game for me. And I was at World of Beer for this game, and that place was packed.
It was fun.
It was a really cool atmosphere. I loved it. I stayed for the first half because I was just like it. I kind of wanted to go home and just watch the game, with my family. I didn't really want to be there in that crowded atmosphere the entire time. So during the halftime show, I left. But we had a very interesting halftime show from what I heard, and I saw a little bit of the end of it. And
let's go ahead and talk about that halftime show real quick. So I really couldn't hear it all that well, but I was watching it. I personally thought it was a fun show to watch. I did not really see much wrong with how it went, but I also thought, man, this is a very graphic show. The dresses are very revealing and doing a lot of booty shaking and twerking, all that stuff, a lot of moves. And the show is also supposed to, be a part of the Hispanic culture. This is a representation of our culture, what we're doing. Well, many families also said, well, yeah, but it was also a little graphic, don't you think, for kids that might have been watching, youthful eyes. Personally, for me, I was okay with it. I thought it was fun. It was a good halftime show, in my opinion. Shakira, J-Lo, I thought Shakira stole the show, personally, over J-Lo. That's just me. But I personally enjoyed the halftime show. But let's just say the more conservative one, not so much.
Yeah. So I don't know if I think I sent you this article, right? But a Christian activist is planning to sue the NFL because the J-Lo and Shakira halftime show may keep him out of heaven and put his soul in the danger of hellfire because he was tempted.
Because you watched the halftime show and you got a little excited, and then you realized, oh no, I got a little excited, and I'm not here to, get on this guy for touting his beliefs, but I want to get on him for the number that he wants to sue for, which is like $750 trillion.
That's crazy.
What?
That's crazy.
Do we even have that much money in the world?
No, we don't. I don't think.
And so you couldn't, but you know what? Normally, especially if you know the person maybe a little bit, normally you would think, all right, this guy's just messing around. He's clearly just joking around. But I think this guy might be serious.
He said, you can't just do that. I want to sue them for about $867 trillion.
Okay, so the number was higher than what I thought it was.
That's
wild.
How
about just $1 trillion?
Can we just make it $1 million? Gosh, that's insane. He was on the Pass the Salt podcast. His name is Dave Dobbenmeyer. I think that's how you say it. And he says the halftime show threatens to prevent him from getting into the kingdom of heaven.
Dude, I think you threatening to sue. No, I'm not even gonna get there.
No, you don't want to get into that.
I'm not gonna get into that. Look, again, I'm not here to get on some guy because he believes what he believes. That's whatever. But if you want to sue the NFL, be a little bit more realistic with your number, all right? All right, 623-1330, your thoughts about the Super Bowl. You can call that number or you can text that number. I personally was very satisfied with how the game went, partially because I'm satisfied with the team that won. They had one hell of a party back in Kansas City where at one point it was even crashed by a guy in his car. They were able to thankfully stop the car and arrest the two people that were involved. But my goodness, it really was a party. I mean, Mahomes, Travis Kelce, they were wasted.
Did you see the Post Malone concert they were at?
Oh yes,
that was
pretty
hype. That was hype. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was getting it. But you saw the tweet I sent you of the guy at the tree with his bare butt just straight up hanging out during the parade. I thought that was hilarious to me.
Dude, Kansas City is a cool place. I've never been to Kansas City, but just seeing their sports fans alone, you can tell that they're extremely hyped about anything that they do. They usually have pretty good attendance at their games. It's a sports city. I really want to go to Kansas City. I've never been, and I really want to go, especially to a Royals game. I've heard from 2 people now that have been there that the Royals Stadium is like their all-time top stadium, and Arrowhead Stadium, where the Chiefs play, is a really good place. It's a big stadium. It's extremely loud there. They did at one point break the record, and they still hold on to that record.
They still hold the record
for loudest stadium for a sports arena or sports facility. It is the loudest it has ever been. So obviously Kansas City is a hype town when it comes to their sports, and I want to be there. I want to pump the brakes, though, on one thing and say that I think the 49ers are a good team. They'll be back in the playoffs next season. I'm cool with Jimmy Garoppolo. For the people that are saying, oh, well, should the 49ers go ahead and trade him before he has to get paid here in a couple of months?
No.
The guy just led your team to a Super Bowl, okay? Cut him some slack. Yeah, he fell apart in the fourth quarter, but cut him some slack. Let's see if he can get back into that same position next year.
Like, let's realize something here. This is the best thing you guys have had since Colin Kaepernick.
Yes.
And I'm like, remember, you don't want that anymore. Remember that. Jimmy Garoppolo is probably one of my favorite quarterbacks, and I said this last year, is that he's going to lead them to the Super Bowl, or at least the NFC Championship, when I saw that they made this trade a while back. And he was injured last year towards ACL. And so he was back. He's back this year, and he did a great job. But now, Kansas City, the Royals, they won the 2015 World Series, right? And so they just won the 2019 Super Bowl. So I'm pretty sure them and Boston are probably the only teams to win, 2 championships in 2 different sports in the past 5 years. So I think that's pretty significant for them.
You know what is really, it's been more of a developing pet peeve of mine. But when you are just all year long praising a team or a person all season long, and then they go play into the Super Bowl, and they manage to take their team there. I'm using this as the example, but I'll tell you, this is my developing pet peeve, is whenever that person or team has one bad game, they sound the alarm. And they say, oh, well, is this team really what they are supposed to be? Like, is Jimmy Garoppolo really that quarterback? Should the 49ers go ahead and trade him before they have to pay him even more money? I really dislike that style of reporting when a team loses and you essentially react by sounding the alarm and going into panic mode. I think that it's unnecessary, that you're not asking good questions as a result of that. Personally, that is my journalistic pet peeve.
Okay. I see what you mean there. Yeah, I guess that I see why you get upset about that. Yeah.
You spend all season long just saying all these wonderful things about who this person is or the team, and then the second this person loses, you sound the alarm. I think one person that I was expecting the alarm to be sounded on, but it didn't happen, and I'm happy that it didn't happen, but Lamar Jackson, having the best team in all the NFL throughout the entire year, and then you lose in the first round. And I was waiting on hearing people say, well, is Lamar Jackson really the quarterback that he's chalked up to be? Should the 49ers or not, should the Ravens go ahead and look into drafting another quarterback in case it doesn't work out with him? Luckily, you didn't hear that kind of stuff because they believe in Lamar. I think there's certainly parts that the Ravens can build around Lamar to help make the team better, including make Lamar Jackson's situation at quarterback a little bit easier. But I was happy to hear that the alarm was not sounded on him. I think he's going to be a solid quarterback for the next few years.
And that's just one thing, as people, they base everything off one game. Like, there's no such thing as a bad day in life or in sports. This happens to everybody. Like, remember Tua, he lost the Heisman off one game against Georgia, the SEC championship.
Oh, how about people writing off Alabama for losing 2 games this whole season long, and now people are saying that their dynasty is over, and is this the end of the run for Alabama?
No.
At some point, that streak was going to get snapped, but here's what they do have. They still have the second best recruiting class coming in, and one of them being the top quarterback in the nation, who, by the way, could play this season. I'm thinking it may still go to Mac Jones, at least for the moment. We have a long ways to go until we have to really get into that discussion. But Alabama has a promising class coming up. They have good returning players. They're in a good spot to still win. They will, with as long as you're Alabama and Nick Saban is your coach, you are always going to be in contention for a national championship.
Yeah.
So I'm not sounding the alarm on Alabama either, yet we were hearing so much of that after they lost to Auburn.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And see, I'm pretty sure they had 17 top fives for the recruiting class this year. And that was first, I believe. And I think Florida also had 17 as well. Florida had a great recruiting class. They didn't have as many prospects get picked. Let's see. Yeah, they had 17 4-stars, and they had 4 5-stars. Georgia had 4 5-stars, and Georgia had 4 15 4-stars, but they had overall more better average and more points thrown to them. In Florida, they had 17 4-stars, but they only had 1 5-star signed. And so that's a big difference right there. But all those teams had 25 commits. LSU, they had 14 4-stars and 3 5-stars, and Clemson, they had 5 5-stars and 12 4-stars. And so there's a big, it flexes up and down there. But Alabama, they had a great recruiting class this year. Georgia, they had the better recruiting class because they had 4 5-stars, but also 15 4-stars, and then also 6 3-stars.
And you're mentioning signing day, UWF recently having their signing day, and they, based on what they had gotten when I was there for signing day, they had 15 guys. They did not include on that list the people who are walking on or are walk-ons, preferred walk-ons. So right now, one of the biggest notables from that signing class is a local guy out of Pine Forest, Puda Walker. He's a guy, defensive lineman, who he had offers to Ivy League schools. Apparently, he was their big scholar athlete, and he chose to keep it local, stay at UWF. He's a player you have to be so excited about. Got out of Pine Forest, who had a great season.
Yeah, I called some of his games when he was playing at Pine Forest, and he was a great guy to watch. Another guy at Pine Forest is Takarian McWilliams. He's going to UAB. He had against PHS. I was calling this game by myself, which that was a fun time for me. But he was the guy who had 2 pick-sixes in the first quarter. And that was really cool seeing him play like that. He's also made a couple plays here. I know he had a scoop and score versus Tate, I believe it was. He had another defensive touchdown. So he had a couple defensive touchdowns this year for Takarian McWilliams, who's going to UAB. And then you also have Frank Peasant, who's going to Middle Tennessee. He's a running back out of Escambia, probably our favorite player of the season, in my opinion. He just was a great guy to watch.
He was a guy, he was just so hard to tackle.
Yeah, he was like that all season.
Him down. So much lower body strength.
Yeah, he was a great guy. He's a catcher, too, for their baseball team. So I can't wait to see what he does this season because I played against him growing up, and he's a good ball player.
So, just get a little local with you, some of our guys. And we'll break down that list of where some of our local guys that you heard us talk about on ESPN Pensacola. Many of these guys all going to college to play football. So, exciting opportunities to come for these local kids. But we will take a quick timeout because we have some NBA action going on, including probably the biggest miscall of this season. We're going to talk about that. The Portland Trailblazers getting snubbed yesterday. That's going to be coming up next on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
First Take, Your Take with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I thought I was too old.
I thought I was too young.
I didn't think I had what it takes.
How'd I find the time?
I went into a music store and tried some percussion. Keyboard,
guitar,
bass,
ukulele.
And before I knew it,
I could actually play a song.
Why make excuses when you can make music? Just play. This message brought to you by the NAMM Foundation.
It's the Crew of Airship Pirates' second annual Milton Mardi Gras Parade, Saturday, February 8th, starting at 5 p.m. Sponsored by Sandy and Bubba's Milton Chevrolet and Sandy Sansing Milton Dodge. There will be a huge number of floats, and catch the inaugural parade after party at Jernigan's Landing with live music, food, crafts, kids zone, and a VIP area sponsored by Cat Country 98.7. Parade and after party admission is free. Chairs and coolers are welcome all along the route. Laissez le bon temps rouler with the first major parade of the Mardi Gras season, Saturday, February 8th, starting at 5 p.m.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo.
Oh, yeah!
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what the feeling.
All right, so Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers has a good reason to be upset right now. So last night, the Trail Blazers are playing in a really close game against the Utah Jazz, and Lillard going up around about 11 seconds to go in the game, he goes up for a layup to try and give his team the lead. Well, the ball ends up getting blocked by Rudy Gobert, who is going to his first All-Star game next weekend, but the ball hits the backboard and heading towards the rim, and that's when Gobert had blocked it. That is the pure definition of a goaltending. Mm-hmm. In goaltending, if you don't know how that works, is if you block a shot that is heading to the rim and it didn't just leave their fingers or it hadn't gone off the backboard, and then it's a goaltending. If you swat it away, the team gets 2 points. Team gets those automatic 2 points, or 3 if it's a three-pointer.
I hope no one ever goaltends a three-pointer. That's just sad.
That's just blatant.
That's just bad.
That's just blatant. But yeah, so Rudy Gobert does that. The call is never called, and then Damian Lillard. They end up losing 117-114. Lillard clearly upset. It was just it was a maddening moment for sure. Even as a fan, just sitting here watching the highlights of it, I'm like, how did you miss that call?
Yeah, and so Damian Lillard, he's mad. He'll be playing the All-Star game as well against Rudy Gobert, who's going to be playing for Giannis's team, and Damian Lillard's on LeBron's team. They'll be playing against each other again next weekend. And even Gobert, he even said after the game, he said, I was just trying to make a play. He says it was a goaltending when you go back and look at it. He even admitted that. So that just tells you a lot about it. And they asked him if it's going to be a blemish on the game, and he just said his words, well, that's all they're going to talk about.
And Terry Stotts, who's the head coach, along with guard C.J. McCollum, Stotts first off says it was a shame and an inexcusable missed call. So, and then McCollum comes back with something a little bit more wordy and expect to pay a fine from this one. He says, quote, just makes me think you're not capable of doing the job the way you are supposed to do it. So you're not allowed to criticize a referee, especially if you're a player like that. You can't tell them that they're terrible at their job and say that they're just simply not talented enough to do it. That'll get you a fine by the NBA. So he should expect a couple $1,000 fine.
And the ref, he even said that they went back and looked at the call after in post-game review, and they said that we missed a call that we should have called. It was a goaltending. But they can't change it because the game's over, of course. But the thing is, the ref just missed the call. Now, when you're watching it live, it was a little bit hard to pick it up like that because there was a lot of bodies up around the rim. But it still should be called. But when you don't call it, a goaltending is when it's not called live in game, you can't go back and review it. So that's why it wasn't able to you can't just, there's no like challenges like football or anything like that. So, it kind of, play had to continue going. And so that's where it was tough.
They do have a coach's challenge, but a call has to be made for you to do the challenge. And since they, like you said, since they didn't call anything, you can't go back and review it.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it was under 2 minutes, you still have to have a call made. And the only call that was made was the foul after he got the rebound, and they intentionally fouled him.
Yep.
So it's an unfortunate moment for the referees because it's so easy to criticize. I've been a player. I have umpired games before. I have been criticized as an umpire, and you realize that the game moves very fast. But that was a call that could potentially, and I want to get your opinion on this one, Sean, could a call like this potentially lead to future rule changes for referees in the NBA, the way they're looking at pass interference in the NFL?
I think that it could, but it is just a one. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is a obviously game in an 82 season, but it's the middle of February. It's not a huge game. The Blazers are far out of the playoffs right now. But yeah, I do agree that the goaltending call should be. You should be able to look at calls, or non-calls actually. You should be able to look at those when they're obvious. But I don't know. I don't think that just this one time will make the whole rule change on it.
Can we actually play the Damian Lillard interview after the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead and click on that. I want to listen to this because I haven't heard his words yet. I've heard Go Bears, but I haven't heard Damian's.
As we pull up the Lillard interview that he does with ESPN after the game.
They double teaming me, trapping me, trying to be physical. I shot 3 free throws the whole game. I'm telling them they grabbing, they bumping, they holding the whole game. That's fine. We get to the last play of the game and they miss an easy call. And then they tell us it's an easy no call. Like that was obviously not a goal team. It cost us a game, man. It cost us a game.
So Lillard clearly upset by the missed call, and he's answering questions from the press. It's a fair argument. You're out there working, and it's a very close game. You have the opportunity to take a lead, or I believe they were down by 2, and they had the opportunity to tie up the ball game. I believe that was what the potential goal would have been. The field goal would have been is if that goaltending were called, that would have tied up the ball game, and instead it gives the Jazz the edge, and ultimately they end up winning. So I feel his frustration. I know it's a very fast-moving game, but this is a good example of you just blew it. And they acknowledged it. They acknowledged that after going back and looking at the replay, it was obvious that they had missed the call. And you can make mistakes, but what is the threshold of expectation for a referee? We're not perfect people. Players make errors out on the field. Players miss shots. But for a referee, you have to be perfect. Otherwise, you're going to face this kind of criticism. And it's a tough game because you, as a player, you don't want to feel that sort of heat. You make mistakes, but yet the same level of expectation, if not better, is expected for the referees. I really want to say that the game's a fast game and that was an easy call to miss, but it really wasn't. This time it was just a bad one.
Yeah, because it was off the backboard, and that's really probably one of the most obvious goaltendings you can really have in basketball. And so it's just tough being a ref sometimes because sometimes they just miss those calls, and just like last year at the no PI call.
Well, it's also you have 3 referees out on the court also, and one of them looked like he did not have the right angle to be able to appropriately make the call. Okay, fine, but you have 2 other people there that are there to back you up in case you are unable to make that call. If they see it, they can also blow that whistle.
Yep.
So went 0 for 3. Bad night for the referees. That's for sure. And I actually think that this could be something that they discuss at the end of the season. Okay, is this maybe a potential rule change? It's a realistic rule change if they made it, but how many times can you challenge a play like that? I'm sure that will be another question if they do opt to go that route. But when we come back up, we have some love it or hate it that we want to go over going down further in the show, our winners and losers, our quick hits, and of course we want to give you our game day predictions. That's coming up on Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
First Take, Your Take with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
The latest sports news is at ESPNpensacola.com and on Facebook at ESPN Pensacola. Plus, watch Chad Brilliante, Coach K, and Sports Call live on our exclusive YouTube channel, ESPN Pensacola 1330. This is Northwest Florida's all sports, all the time station. From Destin to New Orleans, sports fans come here for ESPN and local sports talk. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Oh, it's Saturday, everybody, and it is 11:54, and at this time during Sports Call, we always love to either love it or we are going to absolutely hate it. That's when Justin Patrick is going to read out a statement out loud, and we're going to discuss whether we love it or hate it. Justin, get us going.
So, all right, love it or hate it, Tom Brady won't be in New England next year.
I hate it. I think he's going to sign with New England again, but you can have a lot of fun with this while you can, just teasing people.
Oh, I think that's what Tom Brady's doing. Because he actually, do you know those little question things that people post on their Instagram stories? Like, so it's like asking
yeah,
a question.
yeah.
So Tom Brady did that, and someone said, "So what team you getting ready for next season?" And Tom Brady just did a video staring at it, he raised his eyebrows, and then that was the end of the video. It's like a little 2-second video of him responding to that question because he did a little Q&A on his Instagram story. And I hate it because I want him to be back. But the thing is, he's only going to be back if they have weapons, if they're signing weapons, and they're actually putting money into weapons. Because they didn't do that last year. You had Julian Edelman out at the wideout position when he's definitely a slot receiver. So that's not what you want. And so, all right, the XFL will survive their first season.
I love it. I think that they have the right things in place with the right commissioner running the show. That Andrew Luck's dad, actually, is Oliver Luck. He is going to be the one commissioning this league. He's been on Talk Football with Coach K, explaining things. They have the right leadership. The money is there. Is the talent going to be there? That's going to be a big thing. Are the fans going to want to invest their money into this? But for right now, yes, it will go at least one season.
All right. I say, yeah, it's going to go one season. I say maximum it'll last 5 seasons. But yeah, I love it. It's going to last at least one season.
They need to find the right winning formula.
Yep. Moving on, Pete Rose gambling on baseball is not as bad as the Houston Astros sign stealing in the World Series of 2017.
So we're going to be discussing this after our top of the hour break, but Pete Rose gambling on baseball is not at all anywhere near as bad as sign stealing. And I'm going to elaborate more after this break, but Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and I have been saying this ever since I was able to have a microphone.
Yep, I've said the exact same thing. Pete Rose deserves to be in. He didn't gamble on his team to lose, so he didn't throw the game. And, yeah, so I love it. It's definitely not as bad because that was actually cheating by the Houston Astros. All right, moving on. Patrick Mahomes will win another Super Bowl sometime within his career.
Absolutely, and I love it. I think he'll win multiple Super Bowls, not one, not 2. I'm not going to say not 3, but I see multiple Super Bowls in the future for Patrick Mahomes. Way too talented, and keep the right weapons around him. I think Kansas City right now is that new team they really have it there. Can they keep up the success, though?
We talked about this last weekend, is the dynasty, because they have to sign a lot of players. You're not going to see those exact same wide receivers, in my opinion. We might see Watkins gone next year, or we might end up seeing Tyreek Hill. He may be gone, but you're going to be missing some weapons that you had on this team this year for next year's team. I think they need to get their defense going better, but I love it. I think he will win another Super Bowl, and there will be some new rules changes in the NBA after the Lillard no call last night against the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I think that this no call is an opportunity for the NBA just to come together and say, okay, what needs to be updated? We see this in sports every single year. We saw it more recently in the NFL where they made a couple of rule changes regarding the pass interference. Every opportunity is something to look at, and is there a way to improve on that? And I think that this no call might be the right opportunity for the NBA to reconvene during the offseason and say, you know what, maybe we should allow challenges on no calls like that, like they do in the NFL with the pass interference.
I love it as well. I think there's going to be some changes and a lot of editing. You're starting to see this a lot more sports because when you see no calls happen, you see just outrage starting to happen. Not with just fans, but also players. And so that's where you're going to see things starting to change. And yeah, so pretty much I love it as well. Last night that was a tough one for Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers, but Gobert, he even admits it. And so that's how you know it's bad, is when the player, they'll admit it, the refs, they admit it. And that's when you know there's probably a change should happen somewhere around here.
All right, before we go to break, this just came to my mind, but we were discussing the XFL. Is there ever going to be a league that really is going to compete with the NFL? For a little while there, we had the the UFSL or something like that, and top players were going to that league over the NFL. Of course, that league folded, but will there ever be a league to compete with the NFL?
No.
I say no.
No, there will never be a league. All right, love or hate it, Duke will run over North Carolina at Chapel Hill.
Oh, you know it. Chapel Hill, North Carolina, they're just not there this year. I think Duke's going to walk it all over them.
I agree.
All right, hour 2 coming up next. Does P. Rose deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly Dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
First Take, Your Take, with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. When you're on a holiday.
So we are inching our way ever so close to the start of the Major League Baseball season. Spring training is going to be getting underway at the end of this month. It's crazy how fast this off-season has been, and that's a good thing because I'm a baseball guy. I know Justin's a baseball guy. Sean, he supports the Cardinals, but he's really more of our basketball guy. That's why we love having him here. But we are so close, and guess who's chiming in on the conversation? The one and only Pete Rose, the man who was shunned by Major League Baseball despite being the all-time leader in hits, despite being a multi All-Star winner, despite being an MVP, despite winning a World Series. Pete Rose is forever banned from Major League Baseball activities and therefore is ineligible for the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. All over in an instant where he was gambling on his team to win. He never did anything personally to rig the game. He never did anything to change the outcome of a game by purposely losing, purposely striking out, purposely missing a ground ball, so that way his team would lose and therefore he would profit as a result. That never occurred. But Pete Rose has forever been shunned by baseball for tainting, that was the word being used, for tainting the game of baseball. Oh, but yet when you sign Steele, man, you're all good. Your boss is going to lose his job.
Yeah, that's what's upsetting. The players aren't being punished for this when they were a part of it every so able to be. And the thing is, Pete Rose, it's kind of like literally what he did is kind of like saying, "Hey, I bet you I can beat you in this game, and you pay me." That's basically what it is. Like, I bet I'll win, and if you lose, I'll pay you. That's basically what just happened. And you fine him for that and shun him from the entire game of baseball. Probably one of the greatest players of all time to ever play the game. Me as a Cincinnati Reds fan, I hate it because he was a huge part of our organization, winning championships. He's both my parents' favorite players. Well, actually, my dad's probably more of a Johnny Bench fan than anything else. But it upsets me because he didn't throw the game. He didn't do anything to change the way the game was played. He simply just said, "I bet you I can win this game." And that's that.
So there has been an article that just came out regarding who else was involved with the Houston Astros sign stealing scandal. And oh, by the way, not just sign stealing scandals are tainting baseball. Let's not forget about PED use, the steroid era in baseball, where we were seeing guys club home runs left and right. But sure enough, it's because they have some added assistance. And yes, you still have to hit the ball. I mean, that's still a thing. But trust me, when you already are hitting the ball, and now you have a little bit more power in you because you are doing something to yourself, the game gets easier. The game gets much easier for you if you have that ability because you took something to give you that ability or helps enhance your abilities.
Yeah.
And we are treating this sign stealing scandal far too light, but also because I don't think they really know how to handle this effectively. I don't know if there is a move that is going to be satisfying because what are you going to do now? Just give the World Series to LA? They didn't win. If I'm LA, I wouldn't want that World Series anyways because it's not really mine. We didn't actually win it. We had to rely on the other team cheating.
That's like with the Little League World Series team, the Chicago team, because
I always hated that story.
It was really bad. So I had just moved to Vegas at the time, and so that Mount Ridge team losing the U.S. championship, that kind of sucked. I was like, dang. But also, it's like you don't really want it because you didn't actually win the game.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you don't deserve it. Like you got handed this technically. That always sucks.
So there was an article that was published yesterday called the Houston. It's the report. Astros front office laid groundwork for Codebreaker sign stealing program. So the program, as I just said, was called Codebreaker, that apparently an intern introduced to the organization back in September of 2016. And essentially it was just it started off as like a spreadsheet of ways to take signs. And it all, according to this report, began in 2016 in the front office by an intern. And then it was developed more throughout. I'm not buying that A.J. Hinch or Jeff Lunau had a minimal role in this.
Yeah.
Anyone that works for that organization in some sort of capacity played a role in this. Now, am I saying the person who's serving you hot dogs played a role in it? No, okay? But the people who help operate day-to-day functions and are actively involved with the players had some sort of understanding about this.
I wonder how that feeling is, knowing that like before a game, all right, we got to get the system set up so we can cheat and steal signs. I would hate having that feeling. Like, okay, I gotta set up the thing that's going to help us cheat. I hate that feeling. I would hate that feeling, knowing I have to do that every day. The guy who runs that, and there's actually a picture that's posted of Altuve. He's running up the stairs going onto the field, and behind him on the lower floor, there's a man, which it looks like it could be the monitor that they use to steal those signs, down at the foot of those stairs. I'm like, nothing looked good, and we were all waiting for it to happen, and it happened. But I would hate not having that feeling, knowing that, hey, don't forget to set up the sign stealing monitor. Come on.
So this is something I really want listener feedback on, and I want to know what your take on this is. Does Pete Rose came out earlier in the week and said that, given the light of what occurred in Houston, I would like to formally be basically reviewed. Like, I want to be retrialed. I would like to be in the Hall of Fame. I would like to have a relationship with baseball once again. So he's comparing the sign-stealing scandal to him gambling on himself to win.
Exactly.
He said, so which one is worse. Because gambling, by the way, is not illegal anymore.
No.
Well, I mean, I can't go to a casino in Pensacola and place money, and there are still things that I'm not allowed to do. But if I go an hour and a half down the road to Biloxi, the sports book is my kingdom right there. I can go inside and do whatever I want with the money that I have.
Yeah.
So gambling is not as frowned upon as it probably once was. Now, can the players still to this day gamble on themselves? They actually cannot. They cannot. And there is, I'm trying to recall, I think it was a football player who is currently suspended by the NFL for gambling on his team and gambling on other things around the league. So that is currently going on in the NFL. It's a lesser-known name, Pete Rose, of course, being a huge name, considering he is the all-time hits leader. It weighed heavily on a guy like Pete Rose, and at the time, it seems like this was a hot-button issue. It was applied way too harsh on him, and now we have the ability to take a look at this and say, you know what? It went too far.
It was Josh Shaw who bet against his own team. He played for the Arizona Cardinals safety.
That's right. And he's probably not going to be in the league again either.
No, because, he bet against his own team. So that comes into throwing the game.
But then again, no, he wasn't. I remember he wasn't playing. He apparently did all this while he was injured, so not playing.
Okay, well, I still don't like it because once you're going against your own team, and anyone on that team can have an effect of that money. But also, here's the thing. You're also banning Pete Rose for what he did as a manager and not as a player. His player career, take away everything that he did as a manager, his career as a player is 100% Hall of Fame worthy.
Dude, and we've discussed this on this show before, and my answer has never changed. I believe that one day, and I hope it's not after Pete Rose dies.
That's
because he's older, you know.
Yeah, he's very old.
Is he going to be alive 30 years from now? He's probably going to be 100. So he's older. I would hate for him to finally get inducted into the Hall of Fame. And again, I believe it will. I believe he will. But I would hate for that to happen after he's already passed on.
Because he deserves to bask in it while alive.
But also, don't trash a guy essentially for his life, and after he is no longer living, then praise him.
That upsets me a lot. I hate when people do that. I'm trying to remember because there was one Alabama quarterback, I think it was, who died. I forgot his name.
Bart Starr.
Maybe.
No, he passed away not too long ago.
They put him in after he died.
Wait, what?
It was one. Okay, I'll find it in a little bit. He was the Alabama quarterback that was put into the Hall of Fame. He won one Super Bowl. After he died is when they put him in the Hall of Fame. I'll find his name because he was on one of our.
Kenny Stabler?
Is he dead?
I think Kenny Stabler's dead.
I think it's Stabler then probably. That's the name that's popping in my head, but I didn't know if he was dead or not. Yep, it's Stabler. It's got to be Stabler.
And Kenny Stabler, he's a left-handed quarterback. He went to Alabama.
Yep, it's him.
Won a national championship. All right. Yep, it looks like it was him.
Mm-hmm.
But Ken Stabler.
Yeah, they put him in the year after he died.
So, again, 623-1330, 623-1330. That's the phone number if you want to be a part of the conversation. Does Pete Rose deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Does he have a good argument in connection with the sign-stealing scandal? Which one weighs heavier? Which one is worse? Which one taints the game of baseball more? There are more things that you can do to taint the game of baseball. I think the biggest one would be throwing the game, having an effect on the outcome of the game, like especially in the NBA when you had Donahue, the former NBA referee. Which, by the way, I read a lengthy ESPN article about him, and the whole time I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like this could be a movie, like this could be like the next Scorsese movie. There's so much shady stuff going on. That's probably the one thing that you could do that taints the game worse, is by directly having an effect on the outcome of the game based on your actions, and of course a negative way. That was not the case with Pete Rose. And yes, he gambled. Am I sitting here saying, you know what, I don't even think gambling's a bad thing? If you're a player, you shouldn't gamble on the game that you're playing, period. So I'm still saying, yeah, what he did was probably wrong, but it does not warrant a lifetime ban from the league. A suspension, perhaps. A fine, most definitely. But it should not have to warrant a lifetime ban on the league when then you have guys who are taking steroids. You have guys that are stealing signs, and they know what's coming next because they cheated. And yet those guys, we're seeing either suspensions for PED use, and right now for the sign stealers, nothing.
Now see, like Barry Bonds, he's still on the ballot.
Yes, and he only has 2 more years left, and his numbers aren't growing much. So
No,
I see Bonds getting in perhaps in his final year if he ever does.
But that's cheating, and he's on the ballot, and then
exactly
Pete Rose is gambling, and he's not on the ballot. That's what's terrible about this. You have cheaters on the ballot instead of a guy who is betting that he can just win a game.
So let's say that today, Rob Manfred, commissioner of Major League Baseball, comes out and says, I've thought a lot about it. I've spoken to other people. We all agree. It's time for Pete Rose to return to Major League Baseball in any kind of position. Pete Rose, welcome back. You are also now eligible for the next draft, Hall of Fame. And so he would be on the very next ballot. Mm-hmm. And then he has 10 years of eligibility to do it. So now the next thing is, how do the baseball writers feel about him? Because they're going to vote on him in the end. Right now, just because he's good to be eligible doesn't mean he's automatically getting in. Do the baseball writers of America feel forgiven, or they forgive him? They forgive him for having any kind of gambling involvement in Major League Baseball. How do they feel?
I don't like the baseball writers. I'm just going to say it straight up. I don't like the baseball writers. The one guy who didn't vote for Jeter, who should have voted for Jeter, he stayed unanimous, and I'm just like, there was no reason to not vote for Jeter. What do you have that did not put Jeter in the Hall of Fame? There's nothing. You don't have anything that didn't put Jeter in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, if you're going to not make the obvious pick, at least stand by it. Give a reason why. Make an argument.
Exactly.
Don't just hide
and that's
from
why I'm like, he's hiding from. I'm like, you are I shouldn't say that word on radio. I'm not going to say that word on radio.
Probably safe.
Yeah, it's probably the safe route. But the thing is, and I want to hear what they think about. I don't know what they think about Pete Rose, but seeing the way they treat Bonds and they treat Nolan Ryan, probably not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen because they look at baseball a whole different way than what we do. It's really weird. They look at it from, I guess, the organization's way of looking at things, of going by the rules, of being right along those lines. If you break the rules, you don't deserve it. That's how they look at it.
So the players that were involved in the sign stealing scandal, which a lot of them have all come out and said, the reports are what they are, and we just want to apologize for our involvement in the sign stealing scandal. So for these players, keeping in mind they're all World Series champs, that's not getting taken away from them. One of them is a league MVP out of Altuve, multi All-Stars. Does this taint their Hall of Fame nods?
Yes, it does.
Altuve is a guy that I would imagine is going to be on a ballot one day.
Yeah, he will be. I think he'll still get in eventually because I still see a lot of success coming out his way in his career. But knowing that he did this and won a World Series with it, it's going to have a huge asterisk next to his name. And the Astros 2017 World Series championship.
And I look at that and I think, you know what? Thank goodness the Nationals won.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's another thing. I tend to forget that the Nationals won the World Series. And they did it in such a remarkable fashion. They lose the guy who was supposed to be their franchise player out of Bryce Harper.
Hey, and Bryce Harper wasn't wrong. He said we're going to bring a championship back to Washington after he had signed with the Phillies.
After he had signed with the Phillies. It was one of those like, ooh.
But we see why it happens because he played for that team for so long.
So, yeah. But I'm happy that they won. But do I think they're going to repeat? Probably not. But either way, Pete Rose, and I'm going to stand by this for as long as I am able to, Pete Rose is going to one day be a Hall of Fame. We're about to take a break, but I see that it looks like we might have a caller joining us on the program, so we'll hang on just a moment so we can take this caller. And again, the phone number is 623-1330, 623-1330 if you want to be a part of the conversation, but it looks like we have a caller on the program here. Justin, what is the name of our caller.
We got Mike on the line. Mike, how you doing?
Hey, Mike, you there? So it doesn't sound like we're hearing Mike. Mike, one more time. If you're part of the program, welcome to the show. All right, looks like we lost Mike. Either way, 623-1330 if you want to be a part of the conversation. I'm going to stand by this for as long as I possibly will, but Pete Rose will one day be in the Hall of Fame, and I just hope it happens while he is still alive. We're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, we're going to give you our winners and losers of the week. You're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
First Take, Your Take with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers overexceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen. With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom. Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Welcome to Bo!
Okay, hi, what are we doing today?
I need something that screams something fun. Nothing too on the face, nothing too off the face, but also totally hot.
So I have the perfect thing. It's the most food mullet. You're totally business in the front, but tailgate in the back. It's a fat party. People are having fun. You know, snap. All your friends are going to be like, whoa, awesome setup. Everyone else is going to be all jelly, okay?
Just like a killer mullet, Moe's Catering will turn the back of your ride into a tailgate party that's sure to turn some heads. Just order ahead and pick it up on your way.
Moe's Southwest Grill, now open in Pace on Highway 90 next to Publix grocery store.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
The week in sports, the weekend ahead. Saturdays are live and local on Sports Call with Davis Allen and Justin Patrick.
I'm against the fans deciding the starters because even Taco Fall he's not even in the NBA at the moment. He's playing in the G League, and yet he, based on votes, could possibly still be on the All-Star team.
It's sports talk with a lot of chill. Every Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I'm currently watching Bruce Pearl of Auburn just get heated with the referees right now, as Auburn is currently losing to LSU 53 to 42. This game is being played at Auburn, and Auburn has just been a real basketball team this year. Really, ever since Bruce Pearl took over the program, Auburn has just played better basketball. So, game is resumed now. I definitely. Bruce Pearl is one of the more exciting coaches to watch in all of basketball. He is such a fireball, and I wanted them to move on to the national championship so bad last year. It was an exciting March Madness last season with teams like Auburn doing well. Another team to look out for in college basketball, San Diego State. They're the only undefeated team in the top 25. They're ranked number 4 in the AP top 25. Are they that mid-major that... Sean, I want to get your opinion on this. Could San Diego State be that mid-major that could make a surprising upset in the tournament? Or is it just they're able to get through the regular season, then they'll fall once they get to the big dance?
Well, when you're looking at it, they could make a couple big upsets. I mean, there's no clear dominant team this season. So you're not going to get, like, if they would have played Duke last season and they would have beat them, that would have been, oh, wow. Like, they are showing as a mid-major team that they can beat what people presume is like one of the best teams to play. And this season, there's just not that heavyweight team that is just showing out. But they are going to be one of the, as long as they continue on they're still undefeated. So as long as they continue with their undefeated streak, they're still going to get one of those top 1, 2, 3 seeds in the tournament. And you're not going to play any big teams until later on, as long as you make it that far.
So, and one thing that we are learning is that at the moment we have some minor phone issues that's preventing our listeners from being able to get on air. It's a very easy fix, but it's a fix that we'll have to address after the show. So if you're trying to call in, unfortunately, we will not be able to get you on air at the moment, but you can always text us at 623-1330. Again, that number is 623-1330.
Yeah, we did have a text of a caller, texter saying Charlie Hustle should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. Thank you for that text. I agree as well. Charlie Hustle definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he has. I think one of my favorite moments for Pete Rose was when he trucked the catcher in the All-Star game. That, like, you don't see players go hard like that in an All-Star game, especially in the NBA, where there's no defense in that game. But that's just Pete Rose, and that's why he was nicknamed Charlie Hustle, is because, like, he literally, anytime he's in the game playing baseball, he's going full 100% no matter what.
He will absolutely run you over. No, oh, man. I wish I was able to watch him play when he was active in his career, because that would have been really exciting to see. I was not around yet at that time. 93, what's up? So at this point, I want to talk about our winners and losers. And I'm personally going to do it a little different how I would normally respond, because normally I respond to one person or one thing being my winner and loser. But I'll go ahead and get us started and say my loser is Major League Baseball for their handling of the Astros situation. Now, they suspended A.J. Hinch and Jeff Luhnow, and that was the right call, suspending them. They didn't have to get fired. Their teams fired them. But Major League Baseball is handling the situation wrong from the players' perspective. Mm-hmm. If you suspend all those players, one thing that you would have an issue with is it could dramatically affect the Astros' outcome of the season, because that means you're going to have to call up a lot of minor leaguers that probably would not be in this position right now if it weren't for all these players getting suspended. So perhaps Major League Baseball is looking at it from that angle. They do not want to suspend a lot of players at the same time. Finding these players would be more of a realistic thing that you could do with some of these players, even the ones who aren't even actively playing anymore, like Carlos Beltran. I think Major League Baseball for right now is handling this situation wrong. That is why they are my loser for this show.
My loser is going to be the guy who was in the tree during the Chiefs parade, and it fell. His butt was out there. It just full on. There's a moon during the middle of the day in the trees.
The moon was shining bright.
Yes, it was. It was, especially with how pale he was. I thought it was a very hilarious tweet. But that wasn't the highlight of the parade. The highlight was probably more the car chase that happened there, and then that was a pretty violent thing, because I saw in like about 7, 8 officers just come out with guns pointing at the car. I'm like, wow,
Oh my
that was
goodness.
intense. I was like, okay, and like I don't know what's going on there, but they were very serious about that situation. My winner probably has to just be the NBA as a whole. The way they've dealt with this Kobe Bryant situation, and the way they've shown support towards Vanessa and Kobe's family, it's been tremendous. And everyone, I'm not going to say NBA, I'm going to say basketball as a whole. Because everyone in basketball has probably done something to recognize Kobe Bryant or show the respects. And I got to give my winner to the NBA as a whole, because you see it even in high school levels, because Kobe Bryant's high school jersey was retired and was stolen back in 2017 from his gym and bought by a collector in China. And this week there was returned to the school. His cousin revealed the jersey, who plays on the team there. He revealed the jersey, and they won that game in overtime. So his jersey has been returned back to its rightful place back in his high school.
Yeah, and there's going to be a memorial for Kobe Bryant and his daughter at the Staples Center. This is coming up on February 24th, and I imagine that this will be televised. So,
Yep.
and I want to see that. We had a very emotional show last week talking about all this stuff, but my winner for this week are for football fans. Because on Sunday you were able to enjoy a pretty good Super Bowl with a very interesting halftime show. But you also get the XFL returning today. And that's an exciting moment for all of football, because a lot of these players are players that we all knew back in college. We saw these players play once already, and we get to see them be active again. And the quality might not quite be there, but if you love the game of football and you are saddened by the fact that NFL season is over, well, guess what? Now you get the XFL, and that can always provide some sort of entertainment, and I would like to think it's going to provide good entertainment. Probably not NFL quality entertainment, but one thing that they're saying that the XFL should be able to supply is a ton of exciting plays on offense, which can then lead to points being scored. So that's my winner, our football fans. You receive the XFL, which means you get another season of football, and that all begins today at the conclusion of this show at 1 o'clock. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. Lots more going on in the sports world. We want to break it down for you, including what I had just mentioned, the XFL. That's coming up on Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. Patrick Mahomes, youngest quarterback in NFL history to win the MVP and Super Bowl MVP. Andy Reid, great moment for a good person. 21 years he's been waiting for this dream. So the big question, you've heard it before. Coach Reid, you just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do next?
I'm going to go get the biggest cheeseburger you've ever seen. Prime, the biggest one. And might be a double.
Legit Sports Drive, 5 to 7, right here on your hometown leader for sports, ESPN Pensacola.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients, and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. So we just received a pretty interesting call. And by the way, I managed to get our phone situation figured out. So if you do want to be a part of the program now, the phone number is 623-1330. But we have Barry on the line. We had been just talking about the XFL, and we're going to go ahead and dive back into that discussion because Barry is currently a writer for a Cleveland Browns website, dogsbynature.com. And Barry is joining the program to discuss the XFL. Barry, welcome to Sports Call, man. Barry, you're on the line with us if you can hear me.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
The only way I can hear you is through my radio.
Okay, so if I guess we can work with that for right now, and then we'll continue to figure out our phone situations that's going to be happening on our end. But Barry, you were telling me during the break that you wrote an article for the XFL. Is that right?
Yeah, regarding the XFL for dogsbynature.com.
All right.
You know what's interesting about when the XFL began in 2001 and it was one and done, is fans didn't believe the validity of it because McMahon is head of wrestling. They assumed that the XFL was rigged too. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think the XFL is rigged. I think that it was done incorrectly the first year, and they've had 19 years to figure it out. So I wouldn't say the game is necessarily rigged. I just don't think the talent is going to quite be there like you would find in the NFL. So is the XFL going to be able to compete on the same level as the NFL as envisioned by Vince McMahon? It's going to be a tough one to make happen. If the players don't if the quality doesn't really match that of its competitor, then it's not going to survive in the long haul, is what I personally believe.
Well, of course it's not going to match the quality of the NFL. All these guys were substitute teachers and plumbers and firemen and bagging groceries. And then all of a sudden another league, most of these players were in the AAF, and of course that folded it. But the XFL is being taunted as a developmental league. So you've got all these guys that were not playing in the CFL or the NFL, and so this is their opportunity to continue their careers. But the only way the XFL can really succeed is eventually they're going to have to be an NFL rival. Now, how they can do that is starting as go through the first year without any waves, and starting next year, they're going to have to offer some large contracts to some expensive and blue-chip college players coming out. The XFL pays $55,000 a year, but they do allow several players to be under what they call premier players, which is $200,000 a year. The CFL pays $65,000 is their minimum, and the NFL has their minimum pay is $480,000. So the disparity is quite large, but that's the only way the XFL is ever going to become anything is to become an NFL rival league.
And like you had just said, it's about paying the players also. So if you can get past 1 year, accrue a larger payroll along the way, if the fans can't invest into the product, then you might have the ability to compete with the NFL, but I think that's going to take a couple of years. I know the USFL, the United States Football League, attempted to be that kind of league that financially would try to compete with the NFL, but we didn't see that last in the long run. So it would definitely take a couple of seasons in my eyes for the XFL to really be able to catch up to the NFL. But Barry, I'll let you have the last word because we do have to go to break. Overall, I'm excited for more football to return. As a football fan myself, it's an opportunity for me to see more hopefully quality football players that I have seen once in the past. But then also, it fills the void for next year.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you two things the XFL is mandating. Number one is they're not hiring any player that has been in trouble with the law. That's why you don't see Johnny Manziel in this league. I know he got arrested and then acquitted for domestic battery, and I guess I would assume that that's the reason. But the second thing is they're not going to allow any players to display their political views before, during, or after the game at the stadium. So you won't see anybody kneeling at games. I enjoyed my time with you. Have a great weekend.
Barry, I appreciate you being a part of the program. He is a writer for dogsbynature.com, which is a website that discusses the Cleveland Browns. So, Barry, appreciate you being a part of the show. We will take that timeout, our final timeout on this day. Dude, it's beautiful outside.
It's gorgeous
by the way. I can't wait to go outside, and we'll be walking in a parade following this, or at least I will be. You're going to be doing cat country things, and I'll be walking in the Milton Mardi Gras parade. So if y'all are going to be out there, expect to see me wearing our News Radio red, but I'd love to say what's up to you. That's coming up on Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Look, chicken restaurants are nothing new. But if you're saying, been there, done that, it tastes like chicken. Well, if your friends offer you a brand new convertible or a broken down station wagon with 3 wheels, do you say, hey, they're both cars? Well, the people have spoken. Mr. Pollo on 9th Avenue was voted top 100 places to eat in the country by Yelp at number 61. Making chicken great again, America. It's that good. Try it and you'll be hooked for life. The freshest ingredients and the perfect catering for any big party. Mr. Pollo. It means chicken.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
What? Why? Just wait for the inheritance. We've definitely got a rich uncle somewhere. We're one call away from the winner's circle at the Derby, dinners with multiple forks, a vacation home in the country, using summer as a verb.
You don't actually think that, do you?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs, the Florida Society of CPAs, and the Ad Council.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugatz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News. ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugatz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee... Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
What if people had a battery level icon? Like on your phone? You'd see a lot of us in need of a recharge. Thank goodness there's 5-Hour Energy. Because just one sugar-free, vitamin-packed 5-Hour Energy shot can get you all the way back to 100% fast. And isn't life better at 100%? 5-Hour Energy. Get back to 100%. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
The week in sports the weekend ahead. Saturdays are live and local on Sports Call with Davis Allen and Justin Patrick.
I'm against the fans deciding the starters because even Taco Fall he's not even in the NBA at the moment. He's playing in the G League, and yet he, based on votes, could possibly still be on the All-Star team.
It's sports talk with a lot of chill. Every Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
All right, so for my golfers out there, I'm a big fan of golf. I love golf. And if you are a big fan of guys like Phil Mickelson, then you may want to tune into the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, which takes place over at Pebble Beach Golf Course out in California. Phil Mickelson currently tied for the lead at 13 under par. And look, this excites me, okay? I love a guy like Phil Mickelson. He is a huge personality. He has been on the PGA Tour for a very long time. He's one of few lefties on the tour, and he seems to win this one tournament every year. He is currently a defending champion. He is well into his 40s. He is a golfing Hall of Famer. He has already been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he is still actively playing. That's one of the few organizations that doesn't wait until you retire. You can get inducted while you're very much an active player. So Phil Mickelson's currently tied for the lead. I'm not going to focus so hard on this particular tournament, but I will say that in just a couple of months, it's going to be the Masters.
Which you have a Masters flag hanging in your office.
I do. I have a 2019 Masters flag hanging in my office, and it's my dad. My dad actually went and picked it up because he went to the Masters. He only went to the Wednesday round, the practice round. He didn't see Tiger Woods sink that final glorious putt. If you didn't know this, I love golf. I actually played last Saturday, and I stunk. I played Sunday. Didn't matter. I still stunk. But I will go out there, play, have a good time. Tiger Woods, I'm a diehard Tiger Woods guy. He's the reason why I really fell in love with the game. Grew up watching him win, and it's still really cool getting to see him win. But, of course, Bubba Watson being the biggest local name here when it comes to golf. And, of course, now he's a business owner. He's with Sacred Heart, and he's just a big name now around this community. But he's actually off to a pretty good year in golf. So I think that this is actually a pretty good season. This is looking to be a pretty good start to Bubba Watson. Let's see if he can rebound after having a really rough 2019 season. I just like golf. That's another sport that we don't really talk too heavily on, but I love golf, man, and I can't wait to discuss it even more as soon as the Masters gets here. Oh, that is such a good day.
I loved watching Tiger last year. That was awesome. I mean, I don't get a huge in depth in golf unless it's like majors tournaments that they're playing. But just seeing Tiger play that way, and every time that you just saw a good shot, I mean, the crowd just goes crazy, and like you just don't see this type of energy for any other player except Tiger Woods.
Dude, when I was playing golf last week, I sent my first 2 drives into the woods.
Nice.
So, and they weren't even my golf balls. So, Gary, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but I probably lost like 8 of your golf balls. But
solid.
It was the first time I had even swung a club in, 6 months probably? Last time I played was maybe in July was the last time I had played when it was warmer outside. Because normally when it's cold, I don't play at all. But like today, last Sunday was just a gorgeous day. So
I remember
it was fun playing.
See, my senior year, I was actually going to go out for the golf team. And so I'm out there, I had done like 2 weeks of practice because I'm a huge baseball player. Golf swings and baseball swings are 2 things that just don't go hand in hand. And so I'm out there, I thought I was starting to get it right because I was starting to hit the balls a lot more straight. I go out there the day before tryouts practicing at the driving range, and I mean, these things are just going straight and then bang, left turn, just shanking them like crazy. And I'm just like, so I was like, I'm not gonna go out there and embarrass myself tomorrow. So I said, I'm just not gonna do it because it's just, I haven't played this game long enough. But I still would like to play just because it's another game that you can just go out and play, and I think it's fun.
One of my good friends that I played golf with last week, he every year, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, would go out and try out for the golf team. He lives on the golf course that my high school played at. So he would always just go out and play just for fun, though. He didn't actually want to make the team. He just went and played that free round of golf. You do 9 holes of golf. That's your tryout. So for 3 days, was out there just getting, free rounds of golf, essentially. Well, his senior year ends up making the team as an alternate because you have, I think they take 10 players and 5 of...
We did 8. Milton, we did 8.
I don't know how many Golf Breeze did really in the end, but I know 5 of the players were the ones that actually went out and competed, and then the others were alternates. And normally those alternates are younger people, freshmen, sophomore. But my buddy Andrew ends up making the team senior year and wasn't even trying to. But you know what? He joined the team. He maybe played in one tournament, but he was able to go out there and get a ton of free rounds of golf and even received a golf bag out of it. So, I mean, that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to go play golf again. I haven't played it since I tried it last year in the fall. And I was terrible at it. I went out there with my dad, and my dad's just like, because I go straight down on it like I'm swinging a baseball bat, just throwing the hands to the ball instead of having an arc. I'm just going like that. I beat the heck out of my club. Like, I mean, when I say there's about an inch dent, there's an inch dent in that club at the bottom.
See, I'm not saying that I hit the ball as far as Bubba, but I do have some length to my drive. Now, it would go even further if I would just stop slicing, but I play a natural slice, so I always aim more left with the goal of it slicing back into the fairway. And depending on the groove that I'm in, I can do that really well. It definitely did not go in my favor this past Sunday.
But you don't want to rely on that, though, because it's not something it's not like proper technique, right?
I know, but it's not, I'm also not someone who's actively pursuing a career in the PGA Tour.
Why not?
Because I'm just not good enough. So it's not worth.
You can't say can't.
Plus, I can't
You're saying
afford
can't.
it.
You don't believe in yourself.
I can't afford to go out to a golf course a couple of times a week after I get off work normally around 4 o'clock, and there's some daylight left to where I could go to the course and play about 9 holes. But here's the issue. Golf is an expensive sport.
Yes.
And I love golf.
Yes.
Probably one of the best courses in the whole area is Osceola, owned by the city of Pensacola. And they have done a tremendous job with that course ever since it was bought out by the city. It was never really expensive, but it usually was in the best shape. But that course is in awesome shape now. I was actually there for a wedding last Saturday.
We should do a live remote there for the golf course.
I'm giving them plenty of plugs right now.
Yeah, you really are.
But that's a great golf course. Tiger Point is the course that my parents live nearby, so I would consider that one, and Scenic Hills probably my home courses, just the course I play the most in this area. But one thing that is in common is that it's just pricey. To play 9 holes anywhere is about $25. Mm-hmm. To play 18 holes is actually not that much, so you might as well spend the extra dollars to do that. But also, you need to also have the time commitment. So are you willing to spend $30 on a round of golf? Do you have about 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours to commit to doing it? And so unless you really want to focus on building your game, it's really more just worth it to just go spend $5 at the local driving range and hit a bag of balls and then call it a day.
Yeah, that's what I did. I still have not played an actual game or 9 holes. Yeah, I've only gone to the driving range because I'm too scared to step out onto the actual course and break someone's window of their house because I feel like it's what's going to happen.
Hey, my bad to the guy whose roof I hit on the 9th hole.
Yeah, that was
last Scenic over at Scenic Hills is where I played on Sunday, and there was a roof that I got all of it, but luckily no windows. I missed the windows, thankfully.
You don't want to hit a window. That's tough.
But also, if you live on a golf course, and first off, I hear that there's like an insurance plan that you have to buy.
Yeah.
And you live on a golf course. Not everyone is good at golf, but yet they will occasionally still step onto a golf course and play. Every now and then, there's going to be an errant tee shot. There's going to be a a shot from the fairway that just completely hooks, and it could end up in your window. And if you're really, really, really upset about that, you knew what you were buying into. A beautiful piece of property that's on a golf course. Hey, did you know golf balls are pretty hard objects? They can leave holes in your windows, so it should be a risk that you have to be willing to take.
Definitely, though, I would not put anything like a super nice room, like a man cave or a, I don't know, like my glass antique and next to a window where you can see the view of the golf course. Because if you can see the view of a golf course, well, that means golf balls could definitely come through that window, and you don't want to be in your very valuable, fragile room. So.
But also, I would imagine that there's probably some different windows in golf course homes. I wonder if the glass is much thicker to where the ball just bounces off the glass.
That'd be, well, like if it was this.
Like tempered glass, like an inch thick tempered glass, that probably wouldn't even leave a scratch.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I think if we had a golf ball come at us like through this window next to us, so our studio, we have a giant glass panel window, and I think we have a pretty thick window. Like, you couldn't just break it with a golf ball. I don't think it'd come through it. I like how our conversation has completely just gone off guard, and we're just talking about windows of golf courses.
Hey, so my brother just texted me. He's a golfer himself. In fact, I've been to California a couple of times, and that first time I went to California was for a golf tournament of his. And he just said, he just texted me and said, "Nice job. I shot 73. That was a bad day." Okay, Matt. Which, by the way, for a lot of courses, 73 can usually be par.
Wait, was that his 9 or was that his 18?
18.
Oh, wow, he's
it's
good.
18. Oh,
He's
yeah,
good.
he is good. He is good at golf. He's very good at golf. I played just right. He played competitively and still occasionally does. I have always played recreationally, and that is how it will have to stay. Although there is an amateur golf golf league that you can join, and it's in connection with the Golf Channel. It's essentially the amateur tour, where you pay. You have to pay to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps if you make a decent amount of money, because they put you on some really nice courses playing competitively against other people. You can win trophies, you can win gift cards, you can travel a little bit to do this, but the price can really add up. But one thing that's really appealing about this is that there are different levels. So you could have the levels for the people who are actually pretty good, and maybe if they really continue to commit to this, maybe they could have a shot at playing at a lower tier tour where you can start making some money.
The amateur masters?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah.
But then they have other levels where, yeah, you're pretty good. Like, you can shoot 80 and compete, and you're playing with other people who can also shoot 80 and somewhat compete. And then they have the level that I would be a part of, the level where these people are shooting 100 every single day. They're here just because they love the game of golf. And you being bad, if you were just not as bad as the people you were playing with, you can get a trophy in the end. And I'm not treating this like a participation ribbon or anything like that, but that would be the league I would need to be a part of, is the ones who are just not that good, but yet they're still competing, and there's still an opportunity that they could win something.
So you said
that's my league.
You shot a 54 last Saturday for 9 holes, right?
Yeah, something about, I think it was more like a 52, but still around that number.
So it was like what?
It wasn't good.
16 over.
My first hole was a triple bogey.
Nice.
It was a slow start. But, hey, so 12:57 here on Sports Call with Davis and Justin, and we have 4 XFL football games to look forward to. And I'm fired up, actually. The first game is getting kicked off here in 3 minutes. It's on ABC. But the Seattle Dragons taking on the DC Defenders. Justin, who do you have?
I have zero clue. Let's go Seattle Dragons. I like their name.
I'm going for the DC Defenders right now. They're giving them a lot of hype, and Cardell Jones.
The
Defenders.
Cardell Jones is on DC Defenders.
Yes.
I got Cardell Jones and DC Defenders.
They sort of regionalize it, by the way. If your player played in the region that this football team is in, then you get first priority to pick that person. If you don't take them, then other teams can reach out and grab them. But then the game at 4 o'clock, which will be on Fox, you have LA taking on Houston.
LA, I really like the way they run the ball. They have a really great offensive scheme with their run-pass option. I like the way their defense in the front 7 always looks. So I got LA winning this game.
Wow, what a generic answer. You say that like you know exactly who this team is. Hey, by the way,
yes,
who's the starting quarterback at LA?
Smith, right?
Nope.
No.
Nope, and I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm having to look it up myself. I asked a question that I didn't really know the answer to.
Exactly.
But I'm actually pretty sure it's Luis Perez, who was the quarterback that beat UWF in their first national championship appearance. Tomorrow, Tampa Bay Vipers. Let's go Tampa Bay taking on New York.
Give it Tampa Bay.
I'm going to go Tampa Bay, although it is being played in New York. That game is also on Fox. And then St. Louis and Dallas. I'm going to go with Dallas because why the heck not?
Dallas. All right. Duke, North Carolina, what we got?
Duke, all the way.
All right.
It's too strong.
I'm a UNC fan, but it's not. The year is not this year. Give me Duke.
All right. Hey, let's have some fun. Let's enjoy the rest of this weekend. You got the XFL, you have the NBA, and then next weekend we'll talk about the NBA All-Star Game. This was Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, Sports Call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm John Ryder. The XFL season opener just about to kick off with the Seattle Dragons visiting the DC Defenders. You can watch the game on ABC. Can the XFL have staying power? ESPN's Kevin Seifert.
I think we can all agree that Vince McMahon has enough money to